Disclaimer: the following work is intended for mature audiences, for it contains homophobic language, mild racism, sexual themes, and Fox News levels of conservative bullshit. However, it is all played for laughs and thusly should not be taken seriously, nor does it reflect the views of me or the writer. But if any of that makes you uncomfortable, viewer discretion is advised. Also, general spoilers for Omori applies here. Mari prays the gay away. Chapter 3. To the bottom.
You did what?
Satan was just staring mouth agape at the pale teen. He had decided to only mildly tempt Sunny, but to his surprise, he had eagerly accepted the wine. Oh, I hid cat shit all over her side of the room. Not cleaning that damned litter box? End up drowning in cat shit. He let out a sloshed giggle as he slumped back on the couch. I think I like weed better than this.
Your white ass indulges in the devil's lettuce? Color me surprised. You seem like one of those straight-edge kids.
Sunny snorted as he watched the red liquid swirl at his glass. It was enticing. What, you mean boring? No, I'm not. Believe it or not, it's mostly for anxiety. But you'd know about that, huh? Satan just raised a perfect eyebrow for this.
No, mental demons aren't literal demons. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I do encourage it for shits and giggles.
Sunny pointed, but aren't you the great deceiver? Wouldn't you lie about any tomfuckery? Wow, the balls on this kid. Well, either that or the wine was loosening his lips.
You have some cheek, don't you? I mean, you're not wrong, but still, I feel bad for humans, honestly. You have computers made of meat, being powered by just enough electricity to power a light bulb, and a chemical imbalance that can cause major issues. It's just a little wonky in your head. Biological robots with really glitchy programming. Fucking archangles fucked up when they made your brains.
The entire rant was filled with wild gesticulating as it was needed, but Sunny just looked confused. I thought mental illness, homosexuality, and liberalism were the result of possession of some dick-sucking demon, damning us to the pits of hell if we don't pray to the one invisible dude in the sky. Out of all the other assumed invisible dudes, that is. Sunny just necked the last of his wine and leaned back on the panther he was sharing the couch with. He just scratched its ears, not afraid in the slightest.
Who the fuck told you that load of garbage? The ghost of Ronald Reagan? I swear I made sure to lock that moron up. Kept trying to turn hell into a cowboy movie.
My dad, before you left us. Turns out having two kids with mental illness wasn't the breaking point. Us both not being perfectly heterosexual was. Sunny paused, looking at the ceiling. Oh, that's where all the trauma's from. My issues with authority, and Mari's narcissism. Man, he fucked us up. Satan just winced as he watched Sunny has his drunken affinity. It'd been a while since he had felt guilt for a human, but this kid was pretty cool.
Hey, you want me to deal with him for you? I know a few demons that'll eat guys like him up for breakfast.
Wow, he was not good at cheering people up. Then again, his job was to do the direct opposite of that at all times. Was that why his relationships fizzled? Anyway, questions for later. Nah, I dealt with him already. Hired a PI with my allowance money to track him down. Served him papers for missed child support. Also told the IRS and called the ATF for his illegally sold guns. Nobody suspects the quiet ones to be always listening. Sunny just kept scratching his new big cat buddy. Oh my god, this kid was the best.
So, what do you like to do anyway, kiddo? Unless you want to do my hooves, too.
He did not expect the giddy expression that this idea caused. Oh, hell help him. He was gonna keep this kid. Both Kel and Basil just sighed as they watched the light slowly hit the new floor. BLZ looked just fed up. Everyone was making a pointedly strong effort to try to avoid looking at these two lovebirds, not hear them talk. No, I love you more, Hero giggled at Mari, who just returned with, no, I love you more. It had just been a short while, but it already felt like hours. Hey, Basil, could you, possess me or something? Just so I can, not remember any of this PDA? I mean, I almost miss homophobia. Kel begged and whined, but he got no reply from the ghost. If I gotta put up with this shit, you gotta deal with it too. Besides, what if I get stuck? Imagine what happens if I make out with Sunny in your body. This hypothetical did the job that I'd hoped it would, because Kel looked absolutely disgusted by the thought of anything vaguely romantic. You wouldn't. You're too shy for that. Kel was right. It would be gross in more ways than one, and a violation of every human right he had, but he didn't know that basically could just lie through his teeth. I'd suck dick with your mouth. Don't try me.
Satan, you old kids don't mess around. Hopefully you don't keep that sass up when you pick up the girlie, considering you all aren't, exactly welcome around where she is.
An imp looking sympathetic was the scariest thing either of them had seen. What exactly do you mean?
Well, like Pretty Boy over there, she managed to pick up a job. But, well, it's with the Raft Demon Matriarch.
Even Kel realized what this meant, and his ever-present grin slowly faded. He looked at himself, an athletic, confident teen, then at Basil, a flowery, flamboyant one that could be considered approaching femininity. A man who used to be a woman, rejecting it completely. Wait, we have him way out. Mari, female supremacy, right? Kel almost begged. Kel, women were put on this earth to be subservient to men, not the other way around. She swooned as she hugged Hero, who was just blushing uselessly. The poor man was already rendered useless against Mari's touch, his pussy whipped given nature. Mari, I don't... wait... subservient? He began to sweat, his eyes glazing over as he thought of how he could use this. He was gonna help de-homophobe her, but who says he can't enjoy the benefits of this a bit first? What kind of matriarchy are we talking about here? The snotty liberal arts kind? BLZ shook his head.
The Amazonian 9-foot-tall Oni kind. The kind that would battered women before they died. It's where all the wife beaters go.
Now Kel was frowning, and the skin's trying to do the best impression of a Caucasian as it could manage. Well, Aubrey would come willingly, right? He looked to Basil, who cringed. Well, you know how my parents try to use money instead of love? Kel nodded. This was a known factor. Basil, we don't have time to work through your feelings about Sunny dating you for money. We gotta go get Aubrey. I'm not talking about one of my many anxieties! Basil shouted, the room shaking a bit from his ghostly anger. I hired a PI to see where Aubrey's father went for a birthday present. Turns out, he died of a crack overdose after robbing a house for the blind. Kel winced. He was a bit aware of her daddy issues, but that was a bit too much to smile off. Damn, I bet she was bummed out. Basil laughed, and Kel was about to admonish him until he realized it wasn't some gay snobbery to mock Aubrey, as he used to on occasion. It was genuine, and that was worrying. Oh, so we could kidnap him and shake him down for all the missed child support. Or beat the shit out of him. So we had to settle with breaking his tombstone with a bat, then pissing on, and then burning down the grave. Kel stared at him, then thought about it. Did anyone deserve that kind of treatment? To be hunted down like a dog by Aubrey, and then have their kneecaps broken? Yes. Yes, some people did. You know what? Fair. But I guess she wasn't satisfied.
What do you think she's currently doing right now, kid?
BLZ chimed in, just as the doors opened to a nice lobby. It could even be mistaken for the dentist's office, if not for the gigantic 10-foot woman doing her nails at the desk. Basil was the first to approach. Excuse me, miss, I'm looking for my friend. Who do you think you're talking to, little man? The side eye that he got would melt a straight male. However, wielding his bisexuality as a shield, he persisted. I'm talking to an ally in the fight against misogyny. At least I hope so. Basil checked his ethereal nails. Yeah, like your Aryan-looking ass is an ally of anything. I'm a bi-male who prefers his more feminine side to his male. I mean, have you looked at me? He flipped his hair at her. He gestured to the rest. We have out an asexual, pansexual trans male, and a woman stuck with bigotry most foul. Her poor brain is fried. The demon eyed Mari with doubt. She doesn't seem that bad. Mari then opened her mouth. I think that church officials should have a right to say what I can do with my body. Pro-life for life. Then smiled cutely, not even noticing everyone cringing. Know who knows what's best for everyone? Priests and the government. You know, a bunch of old dudes who haven't got any action since I couldn't vote. You couldn't even trust me with voting anyway. It's not my place. She didn't disappoint with her unneeded and unprovoked outburst. The demon's eyes widened. Oh my Satan, that is bad. But how can we help? We just teach women how to beat the shit out of racist bigots and fuckboys here. Not how to deal with internal whatever the fuck is going on with her. Cal then took the time to join in, seizing his opportunity. She got honeypotted by a hot religious extremist. Oof, been there before, but the point stands. How can we help? Well, Miss Big, Strong Demon, we're all just a bunch of useless gays without our big, strong butch to protect our group. Without her, we are but a hapless, dick-loving moron, unable to open a jar of pickles or protect ourselves. We think she's here. Pink hair, daddy issues. Finally, recognition lit up on her face. Oh, Aubrey! She's teaching how to beat your daddy issues to death 101. Come on, I'll take you there. Why would you want to beat up your father? Biblically speaking, he could sell you into slavery and it's morally justified. Or pimp you out so some angel doesn't get butt raped. Dignity of womankind pales in comparison to a single homosexual act, after all. The demon paused, staring at her. That is the hottest take I've heard. And I'm a part of a female supremacy demon group. We're gonna have to keep her in line, or some of the more feisty girls will murder you guys on the spot. As Basil and Kel followed her, wagon in tow, they tried their best to ignore the awful show behind them. Hero didn't want to know where the demoness got a gag and a leash from, but she insisted Mari wear it to prevent any outbursts of dumbassery. Hero was doing his very best to ignore the wiggling eyebrows that Mari was constantly shooting at him, but he continued to get redder and redder. Basil, could you, possess me so I don't get traumatized with what's going on behind us right now? Kel, bless his soul, was still smiling, but was going pale. You want me inside of you? And now he was staring at the wall. Perfect. Basil needed some time to think anyway. Sunny, if the imp was to be believed, was currently hanging out with the Lord of Darkness himself. To say that he was worried was a bit of an understatement. He was terrified. Not that Sunny was in danger, more so that he would be tempted to do something dumb. As the person who had to constantly bandage Sunny up after he did a Kim dare for candy. He had seen what he would do for a gumball. What the hell would he do for unlimited power? His thoughts were stopped as they waited for a gaggle of smaller flame demons to empty out of a classroom, all holding bats, sticks, and other instruments of blunt destruction. Peeking in, Aubrey stood in front of the class, wiping her bat clean of blood as a mangled pile of something burned next to her. Man, I would have sold my soul to do that, but I get to do it here for free? Hell is awesome! Aubrey! Aubrey, it's— Kel was cold-clocked without even a second glance. Basil didn't know if it was a reflex of a guy running at her or just Kel being a dumbass. Either or, really. Oh, Aubrey, come on! I could feel you saying something stupid from a mile away. Anyway, why is your ass in hell? I thought I died or something. Aubrey begrudgingly helped him up, a bit annoyed that he looks untouched, like always. Look, things got stupid. Can we just skip this and go get Sunny? I'm really worried. Aubrey popped a piece of gum in her mouth and turned to going wide-eyed as she slowly chewed. Okay, Danny Phantom. I think I'm entitled to an explanation. Considering I was hanging out with a bunch of screeching violets all day, in hell no less, and got to murder my father half a dozen times. Well, that explained what the burning pile of meat was, and why it was emitting a low-pitched whine. Heh, that sounds like something you would say, Basil. The kidding elbow went right through the exasperated blonde, who was slowly reaching his boiling point. Look, we don't have time. Listen, Garden Yay. If you don't tell me what's going on, I'm gonna stay here and leave you all high and dry. Then who's gonna scare off all those big, scary feral cats that Sunny attracts, Hey, those claws hurt like a bitch. Besides, that's not the point. We need to go now. Basil managed to prod her chest with a ghostly digit, her hand going through it as she tried to slap it away. Tell me, or I ain't helping your ass. Fine, you stubborn carpet butcher! Even Aubrey flinched at Basil's form, grew angrier, growing obscured and dark as his hairs glowed like headlights. Our dumb friend Mari got honeypotted by a red-headed religious extremist! Thinking I'm so unbelievably homophobic, he managed to pray every single slightly fruity person then far away to hell! Even the cotton candy you like to munch on, you dumb hoe! Basil? Kel meekly tried to interrupt him, eyeing the desk that slowly floated off the floor, glowing with otherworldly energy. But he found himself with his mouth sealed shut by the same glow. Not now, Kel! He was a black specter now, with his eyes glowing a violent cold white. Then she threatened to kill me! An angel yelled at her! Kel's a demon! My grandmother is in hell! Hero doesn't know what cryptocurrency is, and Hasani is hanging around with Satan! While you sit here, playing wannabe Hellraiser with demons! Are you caught up now? It was at this moment he noticed that all of his friends were cowering before him, except Mari, of course. She looked oddly impressed for some reason or another. He didn't want to take her gag off to find out why. A glimpse of a nearby window showed his intimidating form, and he sighed. With a deep breath and slightly shaking hands, his ghost returned to normal. Oof, sorry. I lost my cool a bit there. Anyway, any more questions? Of course, at this moment, Mari managed to wiggle her way out of her gag. Basil, I'm so proud of you. You have to show these uppity women And she was gagged again. Aubrey, I'm sorry. That was not nice of me to say that. I'm worried about Sonny and it has been a day. Aubrey just grinned and patted his empty body on the head. Honestly, I'm more impressed that you spooked me. Maybe we can make a delinquent out of you yet. And with that, she was gone. Kel just watched as his ghostly friend just screamed into his hands. How his voice was muffled if he had no skin. A mystery for the ages. The ride to the bottom was thankfully quiet. Hero had found that a tug on Mari's new leash would make her stop fighting him, but she was breathing heavier. He was confused about it, but no one had the heart to tell him why it was working, and at that point, most everyone in this elevator was just done with this bullshit. When they were ushered into the final level of hell, they saw it. Amongst the frozen field of trackers, stuck in the permafrost, helpless and lifeless, except for their roaming eyes, was a quaint Victorian-style house with a nice little garden, and a sunbeam keeping out the raging blizzard just outside of it. That's a bit anticlimactic. Kel kicked a bit of snow as they made their way inside the garden. Inside was filled with apple trees and cats lying about. Aubrey nodded. Yeah, it's sort of on the nose. I mean, apple trees, cats. It's like he's checking off a list for the "Hey, I'm Satan" list. What's next? A damn talking snake? I mean, I could go. A snake, large enough to eat Basil, sheepishly poked out of a tree. Besides her size, the soft British tones of her voice were equally as surprising. Shit! It's the same snake that gave Eve the apple! You're the reason that men have to show women their place! Hero had let her get the gag off again, but even he looked too tired to fix it or correct her. I bet that's why women are so appealing, huh? To tempt them into kissing? 2 girls kissing is a sin greater than murder! I am not a dyke! Nobody had called her one. The snake backed off a bit. Whoa, is she okay? Concern on a snake's face was a bit of a strange thing to behold, but at this point, none of them were surprised. She's just confused and dumb. Though, why did you give Eve the apple? Everyone wanted to ask, but only Aubrey had the balls to ask such a mildly rude question. The elbow she got from Kel did little to stop her from sating her curiosity. Because Adam and Eve had no free will? It was sort of freaky, watching an omnipotent being play with animals and people like living flesh dolls. The snake shuddered. I gave the apple to Eve and she just said it was tasty. She'd forgotten she wasn't even allowed to eat it. Just poof, right out of her head. But weren't you cursed to slither around on your bellies until the end of time as punishment? If God wanted us to be empty-headed playthings, what was your place to change that? Mari, being the only one not freaked out about the concept of being some heavenly being's Barbie doll dream house, nagged. The snake was taken aback. Because that's barely existence. You might as well be a plant. But the will of the Lord. I mean, yeah, he cursed snakes to slither on our stomachs, but we're snakes! We already do that! The angel I talked to slapped me on the non-existent wrist, cause everyone was getting weirded out. Besides, humans make for good watching. What do you mean by that? Basil inquired, a bit curious. You know how you watch reality television despite it being hot garbage? Yeah? Same thing, but for the Almighty. Wait, what? Aubrey's voice bursting into conversation. Is that the reason why bad things happen? The snake rolled the tip of its tail, having been used to emphasize her points. Well, yes, but either bad things happen, God and Satan are hands off, and only do little proxy fights, and you get to be your own person, or you're a bunch of thoughtless, empty beings playing out fan fiction for the Lord. Which one would you prefer? Pretty sure that's like half the horror movies I've ever watched, Cal exclaimed, the horrific nature of the idea of bouncing off of him. Being dense had its advantages, after all. Anyway, is Sonny in there? Short Asian boy, black hair, flat expression, secretly a sassy bitch. Yeah! Never seen him. Somehow, a smirk on a snake still looked less predatory than it did on Mari. But if he's here, he's in the house. Satan likes to entertain. Be wary, though. If he's taking a liking to the kid, then he's a lot less likely to let you just walk out. He's relatively reasonable, though. Hiro raised an eyebrow. Didn't he get kicked out of heaven for arguing and being unreasonable? Hey, he just didn't want you guys to be flesh puppets. He thought that shit was weird. Anyways, good luck. Hope you guys aren't easily tempted or swayed. And with that, the snake was gone, back to lazing around her apple tree as they all made their way inside. Hey, shouldn't we knock? Aubrey just pushed him in. Shut up, Cal. Satan was this close to winning when a bunch of humans just wandered into his house, unannounced. Excuse me, sir. We're sorry to bother you, but we're looking for our friend, Sonny. Hiro just stared at them. On one end of the table was a fuming Satan, holding half the deck's worth of cards and a few coins. On the other sat Sonny, riches piled around him with a single card left. Uno. And with the draw 4 again, he won.
God damn it, how are you so good at—
And with that, Satan was stricken to ash in front of the Angst crew. He smoldered for a moment before appearing next to himself with the dustpan.
I need to stop invoking his name. It's ruining my carpets. Anyway, can I help you?
It took a moment for everyone to collect themselves. Unfortunately, when you don't have a thought bouncing around in your noggin, you can speak first. So, Kel did. Hey, why aren't you, torturing Sonny? Aren't you, the big bad guy? The only evil thing I see here is Sonny's card sharking. Satan huffed.
That's a hurtful stereotype about demons, you know. Very uncultured.
Kel was about to apologize before Aubrey slapped a hand over his mouth. Shut up! That bullshit won't work on us! You didn't hurt him, right?
Oh, goodness no.
Satan sweeped up his atomized remains and poofed the dustpan away.
He's just been a delight. He does my nails and hooves better than the Medusa does, although it's infuriating how good at he is as cards.
Cal, peeling away from Aubrey, grinned brightly at Satan. Oh, that's because he can count cards. There's a reason why we don't bet on card games. The indignant expression on Satan's face didn't get to be verbalized as Hiro failed at his one job. Mari had breached containment. Foul beast! I shall stop your temptation right here and now! You shall pay for your vile deeds!
Honey, as cute as your little outburst was, you're gonna have to be a little more specific.
Satan grinned, summoning more wine.
I've done a lot of deeds.
You tempt me to sin, to lie with another woman. I can't walk without a single step with a thingy of tits and ass. It's a horrific sin and you must correct. The bodies of women are only there to be used by men for procreation only. The female orgasm is a dirty myth to use to lure women away from the path of God, just like feminism and women's rights. Satan just stared as she continued. I don't want to keep thinking about their soft, smoochable lip, or their squeezable butts and thighs, or how their olive skin will feel on mine, or how they could show me how to please a woman with motherly tone. With dawning horror, the teen slowly looked to Basil, who, despite being a dead white boy, somehow growed paler. He attempted to put his hands over his ears, but failed. It's wrong to want to be dominated by that temptress with her subtle lips and her kind words. I don't want to fuck Polly! Basil just stared off into the distance now, his mind filled with unwanted, gross images of Mari seducing his mother. He didn't need any demons to torture him. Turns out his brain could do all the work for him.
I only like real men like Hero and Bowen! Take your temptations back, Double, or I shall show you the wrath of the Lord!
Out of breath, she panted as everyone absorbed the context of their spastic speech. Sonny was too busy trying not to laugh at Basil's face to be much help to the exasperated group.
Okay, let's take that apart.
An amused Satan poised.
First of all, Hero was a girl until recently. No offense, son. I don't want a dead name or anything.
Hero, rubbing his temples and trying to remind himself of Mari's good qualities, shrugged. None taken, sir. I don't understand the logic either. Hero, my wonderful manly man. Even when you were a girl, I always saw the man truly inside you all along. So no homo. Hero just stared blankly. That's equally progressive and not at all. Besides, Bowen's a girl too. What? Mari just froze. She was in our middle school class, Mari. We changed to the same locker room. What, did you just think it was Daphne around us all the time? She just likes guy clothes and being andro.
Oh god, it's worse than I thought! The chemicals in the water are turning the frogs gay and men into women!
Launching herself at Satan, she raised her shovel high, only for it to disappear.
Girl, relax. When your brother said you were gullible, I didn't think you'd be converted by a side piece so easily. Look, I'm in a good mood, so I'll cut you a deal, Mari.
Snaking around her, he sat back at the table, contract in hand.
I'll let your brother go. Fix his cute little boyfriend. Oh, nice to meet you, by the way. Sonny just gushes about you.
Basil was too busy having horrific brain images to answer, but he continued.
I'll even turn Hero biologically male. No transition or hormones are needed. I just need you to complete one little task. It should be easy to beat me.
It will, for I have God on my side. Nothing is impossible through him.
Okay. Admit you're wrong and also bisexual.
The hopeful aura that once filled the room withered and died as everyone groaned. Except for the smiling devil, who was having a blast. Telling a narcissist to admit they were wrong was like an incel thinking that they had a chance at attracting someone with their personality. Minimal, at best.
Well,
Kel clapped his hands together. We're fucked. Aubrey and Basil just sighed, while Sonny just started to laugh, clearly having the time of his life. It's nice not being the disappointment for once. Come on, guys. She can do it. I know she can. Hero, ever the optimist, the stupid man that he was, believed in his significant other, but everyone knew that love can blind you, as well as the absurd amount of boy juice running through his system at any given time. But she just stood there, frozen at her indecision. On one hand, she would make everyone so much happier, fix her mistake, and make her significant other the happiest man on the planet. On the other hand, she would have to admit that she was wrong. And that was just a lie. Mari was never wrong. To admit such would be against her nature. After all, how could someone of her high caliber of a woman could be tricked by such a simple thing as a crazy hot redhead? Okay, no, I don't think you understand how hot this redhead was. It was the hottest. And admitting she was wrong and spouting bullshit means that she wouldn't have a chance to drag her to bed with Hero. And she was somewhere in that threesome. It wouldn't be gay. Nope, just them pleasuring her big, strong man who hadn't had bottom surgery yet. And slowly, ever so surely, her selfish side began to win, until Sonny tugged on her sleeve. Looking down at their still shorter brother, he gestured for her to get closer. And when she did, he got closer right up to her ear and whispered, "You know, with the way you're acting right now, I'm the golden child right now." And to everyone's shock, Mari began to speak. I was groaning. Sonny continued. And on top of that, you could get railed by Hero anytime you want. The words seemed stuck in her throat. If not for being everyone put at risk, Sonny would be impressed that he had not broken her yet. He had always had the ability to goad and tempt others into amusing situations. Honestly, he was surprised that Aubrey hadn't figured out that half of Kel annoying her was him and Basil. Perks of being so quiet, he guessed. But Mari was being more stubborn than usual, and as fun as it was to hear her talk like a kissless virgin, he had to break her. to appeal to her golden child syndrome and break her out of this. Mari, if you lie and say you're wrong, boom, Hero will have a threesome with you, no questions asked. Basil just stared at everyone as he sipped his soda. He watched everyone enjoying themselves, but felt more exhausted than anything. Mari was back to her normal self, and even if she apologized for her moronic behavior, she knows that she was going to be made fun of for a while, considering she was with Hero trying to win more prizes for the crane game that she stuck close to him. Hugging his arm as Hero never looked happier or more comfortable in his own skin, Basil was happy for him. Kim, Cal, and Aubrey were currently holding an eating contest that they had hyped themselves into. Somehow, why someone would eat more than one slice of Chuck E. Cheese pizza willingly was beyond his mortal comprehension. It tasted like grease and disappointment to him. Cal abusing his newfound demon heritage, and useless power to scam the lesbians out of their pocket change. Good for him. He really got one over. Sunny was currently in the bathroom for some reason, having scammed the devil himself out of countless riches, and Sunny had somehow found a gig cat sitting and doing makeovers on top of that. Having been set for life, Basil should have been happy. He really should have. Everyone was okay, alive, and no worse for wear. However, he couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Everyone had gotten something out of this, except for him. Cheese and crackers, I got the short end of the stick. Basil huffed. All I got was my body back, but I'm sore and bruised all over. Not exactly. A girl sat across from him, rather a pretty one to much of his surprise. Her long black hair was pulled into a ponytail, and her pale skin somehow glowed in the cheap lights. He tried not to focus on her physical features. However, Polly would describe her as thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Such a sudden and shocking beauty she was that Basil almost forgot that he had a boyfriend. Almost. Cursed his bisexuality. The porny never left him. What do you mean, I'm sorry, I don't know your, name? It dawned on him that she was wearing a sweater vest, a collared shirt, and shorts that looked a bit too squeezed into. It took him far too long after admiring her posterior that he realized that she was wearing some familiar clothes.
Wait, Sunny? What? How? Who?
She laughed, cementing the fact that this was who he thought it was. A shy smirk planting her lips. Well, maybe Hero isn't the only one who wouldn't mind a gender swap now and then. As I was saying, Sunflower. She stood up, shoving herself into the booth next to his. She smelled nice. Extending her hand, she showed him a ring. Satan gave it to me. Why? The blood leaving his brain, filling his cheeks and other places. It was a surprise that any higher brain function even existed. Sunny just laughed. Well, I want to treat my favorite boy after all, so you did get some. Her smile turned a bit predatory. A big-titted goth, GF. You know, knowing where he was now, Basil only had one passing thought as Sunny launched himself at him. Only one small phrase entered his skull. For a long while after that, being occupied with making out at a children's entertainment center, he should really thank Satan more often.
Hello, Gordon.